So we'll now hand over to Paula for the last 15 minutes for the moderation of the panel discussion, and also get questions that I see also in the chat some more from the audience. Paula, over to you.
Thank you, Raffaele. Thank you. First of all, let me thank Yanjing and Raffaele for organizing this meeting and for the panelists, because I think that we have a lot of things to discuss on that, a lot of things to do, but I think that we are progressing a lot. Uh, um, uh, I'm the coordinator of DISCO, and I'm proud that this initiative is also under the umbrella of this project that is dealing, as Raffaele said, is dealing about the optimal and strategic use of space, moving cities towards a digital process of urban logistics and planning. So, our first question is, I think, for Iskandar, and is there any better way or effective way to quantify? I believe that this question really matters, because if you need to bring more partners, more cities, more industry partners and players, maybe the way in which we can give an evidence of the benefits on a multi-stakeholder level could be something that can support the emerging the value of curb and of the initiative of technologies, investments that still needs to be done. And what is um, the goal of a city, that so that the city, it's that city mature enough, or what are the steps that a city needs to undertake before reaching this this level of implementation?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Paula, and it's a multi-layered question actually that you pose. I think it all starts first with knowledge and insights from a city, right? So you as a city needs to know, okay, what's happening currently. So a lot of cities know that already. You do qualitative analysis, but do you also do quantitative analysis? Do you know how many vehicles drive through your city? Do you know how many loading and unloading activities there are in your city center? From my experience is that a lot of cities don't know this yet, right? So that's where it starts. You need to start measuring. That's why we try to collaborate with FMS and TMS companies to really figure out, okay, where are the unloading activities, and do we actually increase or decrease the amount of unloading activities? Secondly, we measure a lot of qualitative insights. So from residents, from logistics, and in that way we try to see if our solution actually works and does that yeah, positive impact on the city. But I'm also curious for other cities to hear how they measure it and how they monitor the usage of space.
Uh, Thank you, Iskandar. I think that you mentioned the approach of functionalities of a city, and I think this is very relevant as well, because a city has a different function. This could be industrial area rather than commercial area, or residential areas, or green areas, recreational areas. And so I think that all different part of the city should be served according to their needs and to their priorities. Uh, for doing this, I have I have a question. I don't know if anyone else has an additional question, but I think I have a question for all of you, all of the panelists. What is the value of data? What is the benefits of data sharing and on creating some framework to generate, because you mentioned collaboration, you mentioned cooperation, you Michael, I know that you are also very involved in this type of discussion, both in ULAT, in EGUM, in Bremen as well. What is the importance of data sharing, of creating? Because if you have to, for example, to manage micro hubs and the establishment of micro hubs of lockers, you know that managing lockers in private areas and in the public areas is a completely different approach. But I don't want to enter, maybe Mikkel know more than me, Nulats, what this means, but the data makes really the difference. And if you can get real-time data for managing something that is dynamic. If I am an operator, I need to park, and I don't want to cruise and lose in efficiency. And I need to know where the space is available. And also, this is in your presentation, you mentioned that the multi-purpose use of lands. And if you want to achieve this great level of benefits, I think that receiving data, I want to I want to know where space is available at that time, both in public and private area, is something like fundamental. So, Miguel, what do you think about that?
Yeah, first of all, looking what kind of data we are talking about. Is it the data
Yeah,
of the current street space use in order to come to something as is kind of, let's say, in the vision to have a real curbside management. So that's where data is one thing, but we also would need a legal framework that we could do, for instance, reservations in public street space. And we should not forget competition. We have two kinds of competition. One is a competition between the market players, and they would not be too happy to share all the data so that they know how the business situation is. So, big question mark on that. But we have another competition that's around street space. We have the competition, for instance, between the private car owners and the logistic operators. And the example that I showed from Bremen is there is little understanding for the needs of the other ones, especially from the side of the private car owners. They want to leave their car behind on the street and don't care about the needs of others. So, what is the role of data in that concern? It will help, but it needs governance. It would need some way that we take our rules seriously. And Germany, despite all stereotypes about Germans keeping the rules in terms of parking and speeding, but here in terms of parking, we have a Wild West. And to get away from that, data is helpful, but we need much more governance. Someone is obviously doing some pan frying, something in the background. Sounds good. It smells almost good. I mean, thank you. So that was my
thanks,
answer.
Miguel. And Zitis, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, you know, that is a prerequisite. Like if you need to move to a consolidation schema, if you need to move to a collaboration and in a collaborative logistics schema, data is just a prerequisite. It's a given that we will have a full visibility into the information of all the operators centrally, and of course respecting their privacy and their insights. But uh, the key thing here we need to keep in mind is that sharing is like, normally I'm speaking from more mathematical point of view, but at this sense, sharing is like increasing the space of available solutions that we can find. And given that we increase in the space of available solutions, we can find more optimal solutions to actually perform the last mile operations. And based on that, data is just an enabling tool. Yeah, of course, we need to have full visibility on the information. We need to have a standard messaging and exchanging schema. We need to have a space where data will be available and will be in a format that we expect in order to be easy to handle by algorithms that manage and forward the parcels. So yeah, so at this sense, yeah, data it's not just important, are necessary to progress with such solutions. I don't know if that covers your questions, but
And Iskander?
Yeah, just a final remark. I think a lot of it said already. I just think that data sharing, sharing data is it's a bit of a dirty word, right? It's not about sharing data, it's about sharing insights in the end. Because I don't want to share the data of our users, of our bookings, and about the occupancy of our locations directly if there's no need for it. But I like to share the insights. So what do we learn from it? And how often, and what are heat maps, for example, in the city? So that's what I want to share. So it's about sharing insights and not necessarily about sharing data.
Thank you very much. I think that data is the new petrol, but it's not that it's not that easy to convince the business players to share. However, you know that there are some initiatives also from big players that are starting sharing at least the intention to cooperate. In Alice, for example, we have a very good team now dealing with urban logistics in the thematic group that with me and Hans Schurman from Proximus are proudly chairing with the UPS, Bipost, La Poste, and Scania. Being them in a same team, I think that is very good message, so that the big players are very, very open, at least to stay around the same table, to share initiative, and to bring to let the people in the sector understand that this can be done. At least this is one of the most important challenges. I agree with Michael that the governance is quite important, before otherwise no one knows who leads, who has to do this, the role of each of the players and also tariffs, fair regulation. It's quite important in the city as a fixed rules, and this is the main role of the local authorities to establish rules, regulation, and to avoid that there is any gap in cooperation, in competition. But for example, the project like Disco, Disco is promoting data sharing in living labs. This means that there is a promotion of the decentralized way of sharing of insights. I like the terms, Iskandar, insights, because insights are relevant to purpose-oriented services, and it's something that is important. I don't have to share all my data, but I can share only the minimum data common requirements that can be done. So that any goals is important. For example, if you want to share some data on curbside management, on the availability of a space, it's important that I should have some data so that I can take my decision. Big players would like to know what are the available space in the city so that they can park and they can deliver by bike. It's quite important that we give the tools, the information, the awareness, uh, so that collaboration, cooperation, and the understanding what are the available infrastructure and the available services, the available business models that can be transferred. And I also recommend to see what are the achievement of projects that have been concluded, like Leeds, like ULATS, I think that also the Senator, that are all the projects that have some data to share because they came to an end. I don't know if there is any more question, or I leave the floor to Jianjing and Raffaele, and I thank you very much for this for this great audience that participated to this new workshop on urban space organized by Polis and Alice.
Yeah, thank you, Paula. And indeed, I think it's a very good topic. We can see we have about almost 100 people to join the webinar, so we will continue these discussions for sure. And the first opportunity to bring city business together is a POLIS conference. It's happening next week in Leuven, in Belgium. If you have not yet registered, I think it's a good opportunities to heard all the cities and the business practices there. And the final POLIS Alice webinar, this series 2023 will be happened in 15th December, just before Christmas. We are focused on the logistics for urban construction site, and that is also an interesting topics are not being fully discussed. And then, as mentioned by Paula, please check the policy recommendations from the just finished lead projects, and I share the link. And also, we will have in-person conferences on 20th December in Brussels. It's about to boost the impact of freight transport and logistics of the EU-funded research. I close the webinar now as 3 minutes past the time. Thank you very much. Particularly big thanks to the speakers and to Paula and to all of you to join. And see you in POLIS conference or on 15th of December for next webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day,
Thank you
everyone.
all. Have a nice day. Bye.